What if I told you that Superman, the most iconic superhero of all time, has been completely reimagined? That the cape, the S, and everything you thought you knew is being rewritten. In 2025, a brand new Superman will fly onto the big screen. But before we look forward, we have to look back, because this isn't just one hero's story. It's a legacy shared by many, from the charming classics to the gritty reboots, from forgotten cameos to fan-favorite titans. So today, we're diving into every live-action Superman ever. And by the end, you'll know exactly how we got here, and why the next one might be the most important yet. It all began with Kirk Alyn, the very first actor to portray Superman in live action. In 1948's 15-chapter serial Superman and its 1950 sequel Atom Man vs. Superman, Alyn laid the groundwork for everything that followed. His portrayal was theatrical and heroic, and though his flight was animated by hand-drawn effects, audiences embraced the magic. Alyn's Superman didn't just punch bad guys, he introduced cinema to the idea of a costumed hero. And that idea would only grow. A few years later, George Reeves brought Superman into America's homes through television. Adventures of Superman aired for 6 seasons and over 100 episodes between 1952 and 1958. Reeves portrayed a kind, calm, and morally upright Superman, less flashy than today's heroes but full of strength and authority. To children of the 1950s, George Reeves wasn't just playing a role. He was Superman. Week after week, he showed viewers that courage and kindness could be just as powerful as fists. Then, in 1978, Christopher Reeve redefined the superhero genre forever. Starring in Richard Donner's Superman, Reeve embodied everything Superman was meant to be: strength, humility, charm, and moral clarity. He made you believe a man could fly, not just with special effects, but with performance. Over the next decade, Reeve reprised the role in 3 sequels. Even when the scripts faltered, his portrayal never did. He became the benchmark by which every Superman would be measured. For many, he's still the gold standard. And in the 1990s, Lois and Clark. The New Adventures of Superman gave the character a fresh spin. Dean Cain played a more grounded, personable Clark Kent, opposite Terry Hatcher's Lois Lane. Their chemistry drove the series, which leaned into romance and character over spectacle. Cain's Superman wasn't alien or distant, he was approachable, relatable, and in a time before superhero overload, his version helped keep the mythology alive for a new generation. What if we watched Clark Kent become Superman, step by step? That was the premise of Smallville, which starred Tom Welling as a teenage Clark, discovering his powers and wrestling with his future. The series avoided the cape and tights for most of its run, focusing instead on family, friendships, and identity. Over 10 seasons and 217 episodes, Welling crafted a version of Clark that grew slowly, painfully, and believably into the hero we know. When he finally embraced his destiny, it meant something. In 2006's Superman Returns, Brandon Routh took on the impossible challenge of honoring Christopher Reeve's legacy. His performance was sincere, soft-spoken, and deeply emotional. The story centered around a Superman returning to Earth after years away, finding that the world had moved on, and so had Lois Lane. Though the film didn't ignite a new franchise, Routh's portrayal was well received, and more than a decade later, he was given a second chance, reprising his Superman in CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths. This time, older and wiser, he wore the cape with gravitas and closure. Then came the most intense reinvention yet. Henry Cavill in Man of Steel. Zack Snyder's vision painted Superman in darker tones. Less myth, more man. Cavill's Kal-El was powerful but burdened, always unsure whether the world wanted him or feared him. His journey spanned Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, and a brief post-credits return in Black Adam. His performance was muscular, emotional, and polarizing, but undeniably iconic. Fans expected more, but then came the reboot. Cavill was out, and a new era was on the horizon. There's one more name you might not expect. In the late 90s, Nicolas Cage was cast to play Superman in Superman Lives, a Tim Burton-directed film that never made it past pre-production. The story was bizarre, the costume was radical, and the movie, ultimately, was shelved after millions were spent. But in 2023, Cage finally appeared in the cape during a multiverse cameo in The Flash, giving fans a surreal glimpse of what could have been. Cage once said his take would have combined angelic vulnerability with otherworldly power, alien, sincere, and terrifying all at once. A Superman like no other, and now a legend all its own. Now, the cape passes to David Corenswet, the newest actor to carry the mantle in James Gunn's upcoming 2025 reboot, simply titled Superman. Gunn has made one thing clear: this won't be another origin story. When we meet Corenswet's Superman, he's already out there, already saving lives. But the world doesn't quite believe in heroes the way it used to. This version of Clark will have to navigate truth, identity, and cynicism, not just with superpowers, but with compassion and restraint. Gunn said he was looking for an actor who made you feel like Superman just by standing in the room, someone you'd trust, someone you'd hug. And Corenswet, a lifelong fan of the character, once said, "I'd love to see a version of Superman that's bright and optimistic." Now it's his chance to bring that vision to life. From Alyn's serial stunts to George Reeves' steady charm, from Reeves' soaring hope to Cavill's conflicted grit, from Welling's long road to heroism to Routh's heartfelt tribute, from Cage's unrealized vision to Corenswet's new beginning, each Superman reflects the period in which they were created. Each carries different values, different fears, and different hopes. But together they form one legacy. A legacy of a hero who could rule the world but chooses to protect it. A hero who may change faces, tones, and timelines, but never what he stands for.